Morning.
Morning, Harold. How are you?
I'm good. I wasn't quite sure it was 9 and 9:30, but I guess it is now.
He said 9 o'clock.
Okay. Let's see if
So
you
you couldn't get
remember.
a double header, maybe.
Yeah, double here. Yeah. Let me get my coffee. Be right.
Oh, that's Mhm.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, good morning.
Tzadi Gimel 93. Hanich Lamando Rav Yochel Omer Levet Asay Miven in Zoncha. There is an opinion that the owner of an Evet Knani cannot say, work for me and I won't feed you. So then Shapir, because there's an obligation for him to feed him, according to the opinion that you can work in Evet Knani and not necessarily feed him, how are you going to deal with this thing that a person can make a tanai before you get hired about his children, about his avodim? We're talking about where the owner is not feeding them. The machlokas between the two braisos was the case where one is of the opinion that a master can work as ever without feeding him. Rabbi Yochanan Omer Yochel Arav Shavik Masis Bavin Kiparaisa. A Mishnah is more authoritative than a Baraisa. Why would Rabbi Yochanan paskin like the Baraisa, not like the Mishnah? Ela de Kulam Mishal Shamayim Loichel comes out. You could learn because we've been dealing with this question: when the worker is eating, is that considered his personal asset, or is it just gifted to him from Shamayim? So we could learn that everybody holds it Mishal Shamayim. The law Matzi Kotzitz. And he can't really make a t'nai with the owner regarding who's going to eat. And what does it meant when the Mishnah said, "My kotzitz zoynos"? It meant the owner can decide not to necessarily feed them. Well, then why don't we do the same thing by a behema? So comes out that the question we asked when the worker eats, was it considered, is it his or not his? It's about like it's Tanoim, period. Mishnah. The worker can say, I will accept a higher wage and I won't eat from the fruit while I work. And he can do the same thing, as long as who he's doing for has das, his adult children, and they can be mavater, they can relinquish their right and give it minator. Aval ena kotzitz yidei bno vito aktonim. He cannot do it for his minor children. The law yidei avdo v'shivchos aktonim. The law yidei behemto, not for his animals. In each case of this, minei shein ben das. They don't have an independent mind, so they can't be mavater their share. Hasoichers apoam laso is benete revai. You hire workers to work a field that is in the 4th year of their crop, where you're not allowed to eat the food except in Yerushalayim. So those workers can't eat from the field. And in Dion, if they entered into the contract to work there and the owner had never told them it was not the Ravai, so the owner has to be poidu machilinbo. The owner has to redeem some of the food and feed him. Because it's understood that if you hire a worker, you hire him with the food as well. Isparso agule, the figs that you pressed into a circle fell apart. So initially, once you're at that stage with figs, you have to give meiser. So nispasu chav Yosef, or the barrels of the wine, the tops came off and you have to seal it. So in these cases, the workers can't eat because there's already been gemar malacha. There's a chiv meiser. You can't eat them without meiser. Imloi hoidian. Again, if the balabayas hired them without informing them of these things, then the owner meiser machilan. The owner has to give meiser and feed him. Shomrei peiros. People who've been hired to guard the peiros in the field or the vineyard. Oichlin mehilchas Medina. There's a takana that the Chachamim made that they can eat, but avalom minator. It's not considered a real work. So the Gemara is going to analyze that. Shomrei peiros amarav loy shanu ela shomrei ganus upardesin. These fruits are, in an orchard, the fruits are still connected to the ground. And they don't have zechus to eat those, just through a takana chacham. But a gat, which is a wine press, or piles of weed, where the fruit has been disconnected from the ground, Ksavar, Mishamer koisim maisadami. Rav holds that a watchman is considered like a worker. But Shmuel Amar lo shanu elasher gitos varemos. They eat mitakona. Alasher gitos pardesim. They don't have a right to eat from any source. Ksavar, Mishamer lav koisim maisadami. A watchman is not considered a worker. Mosiv Ravacha Bravuna. Hamishamer Sapara, there's a paraduma, and somebody's been hired to guard it after they burn it. Mitame B'Gladim. Anyone who works with the paraduma, he becomes tummy. And his B'Gladim become tummy. However, if watching is not considered working with it, he didn't do anything. Why should he become tummy? It's a gzeira. It's not meikra din. That maybe he'll come to touch it, he'll become tummy. Mosif Rav Kana. Hamishamer arba v'chamesh mikshaos. He's watching 4 or 5 different fields that are growing different types of cucumbers and gourds that are owned by different people. Man, he shouldn't stuff, he's allowed to eat, but he shouldn't stuff himself from one of them. He should eat by percentage so that each balabais is affected the same way. If watching is not considered a maisa, why would they eat it all? Am I oichel? Rav Simi Barashi kan be'akurim shanu. These have been picked already. They're not connected to the ground, so they have a right to eat. So the Gemara says, "Akurim v'lo kvar nigmar malachton l'maiser." If they're picked, you have to give meiser before you eat. So the Gemara says, "Shelo nitla adayin pikashlem." Remember, we talked about there's a little flower that has to be picked from them before they're ready to give meiser. Aravashi kavosi d'Shmuel mistavra. The sheet of Shmuel makes sense. This not. Elu oichlim in HaTorah. The following workers eat. You can eat even from something connected to the ground if it's at the harvest. Uvetolush, if it's harvested, as long as there's no Gemar Malacha. Implying that there are types of things that you don't eat min Torah only from local custom. Ema Seifa. Elu she'ein oichel. The following people don't eat. My ein oichel. What do you mean they don't eat? That they don't have a Torah right to eat, but they eat from local custom. So hainu reisha. That's the same way that's the reisha. Elalav lo min Torah v'lo me'elchos medina. Umay niu. You don't eat from any source. When it's connected to the ground, not at the time of harvesting. The kol shekain shomer upardesos, where the malacha is not completed. So that's why he thinks the svara is like Shmuel. Okay, now comes a famous Mishnah. Arba shomerim. There are 4 types of watchmen. Shomer chinam, unpaid watchman. Hashoyel, somebody who borrows an item. No seschar, a watchman who's paid. Vasoicher, somebody who rents. Shomer chinam nishbal hakol. A shomer chinam is not chayiv for anything. Not if it got lost, not if it got stolen, not if it got broken or died. He takes a shvua that this and this is what happened. Upoter milishalim, he doesn't have to pay. On the other extreme, hashoyel mishalim es hakol. A borrower has to pay for gneva vaveda and by oinsin. Some accident occurs, a shoyel still has to pay for that. No seschar vasoicher are the same. Nishborn ala shvua vala shvuya vala mesa. They are potter by oinsin. If it got broke or taken prisoner or died, but they pay by gneva vaveda. Now, mantana are b'shoimim. Who is the Tana that learns that there are 4 types of shoimim? Rav Nachman, Rav Avua, Rav Meir. Ermelei Rav Rav Nachman. Mi'ika de Lesley Arba Shoimim. Understand. The Torah talks about Arba Shoimim. Ermelei Hachi Kamin Lecha. Man Tana shesoicher kenois eschar. The question that's being asked: who is the Tana that holds that a renter has the same dinim as a shomer socher? That's Rav Meir. Rav Meir just the opposite. The Tanya. Soicher, Ketzad Mishalim. How does a renter pay? Rav Meir Oimer Kishomer Chinam, and Rav Yehuda Oimer Kishomer Socher. So Rav Ravuna Ibcha Ktani, he learned it the opposite. That Rav Meir held that a soicher is like a shomer socher, and Rav Yehuda like a shomer chinam. Well, if a shtoicher pays, has the dinim like a shomer sacher, technically, madua arba reish loshan in it. There's really only three sort of dinim. Amar Bar Yitzchak, yes. Arba shomerim v'dinam shlosha. There are four types of shomerim, but the adjudication is only three types. Ahu raya dav karoi chayusa guded dinar papa. There was a shepherd who was grazing his animals on the banks of the river Papa. One of the animals slipped, fell into the water and drowned. Also, Rabba upatre. The case came in front of Rabba and he pattered. He said, you don't have to pay. Because Omer Maya B'Leila Mevit. It's an oinus. And he's a paid watchman, right? A shepherd is like a shomer sacher. And we said he's pater ma'oinsin. Hanata kenitre inshi. He watched. He watched with the appropriate gedorim of watching that was required. If the shepherd went into the city to have lunch with the other shepherds, when the animals are in a quiet place, and they feel it's safe for them to go into the city, and if at that time somebody stole it, are you going to say Achanami de Potter? Omer in. Rabbi said yes. Gana purta be in the ganu inshi. If he took a little nap, when most people take naps, are you going to say Achanami de Potter? Omer in. So Esve. Eluheim oinsin. Sheshomer sachar potter. These are the following examples of an oinus where a shomer sacher would be potter. You go on, there's a pasuk in Iyu, Vatipol shva vatikachem vesanarim ikulu ficharev. This is like an armed band of robbers or army. So that's considered an oinus. But anything less than that would not be an oinus. That's watchmen that were hired to guard the city. So their whole job is to fight against other armies. But a regular worker, it can have an oinus less than that. Eisvei. When does a shomer sacher have to pay? So, Ad Kedem, Yaakov Avinu, when he was complaining to Lavan, he said, Hayisi bayom, achalani choyre v'kerech balayla. Ariella, I'm teaching Daf Yomi right now. Okay. I want a sesame bagel with cream cheese lox and a tomato.
Okay, there's no lox at Bagel Factory.
You sure?
Actually, there is. Okay, do you want it toasted or no?
No.
Okay, love you, bye.
So Lavan said, and it was bitter cold at night. So you see, the shomer has to put himself up. So Rabbah said, this again, these are workers are hired to guard the city, not a regular watchman. What do you mean? Yaakov Avinu was not a watchman for the city. And we bring the proof from him. So the Amr Leila Lavan, he arranged with Lavan to provide shmira on a higher level, like watchman of the city. Esfe. Roya Shai Roya, a shepherd was shepherding other people's animals. V'iniach Hedro Balayir. He left them unwatched and went to the city. Baza Vitarf. A wolf came and ate one of the animals. Ba'ari Vidaras. Or a lion came and ate one of the animals. Ein Oimrim, we don't say Ilu Ayasham Ayamatzil, that if he was there, he would save it. Ela Oindinoso. We estimate, we look at the person. Im Yochel Hatzil, let's say he was a strong guy and he would be able to get rid of the animal, then Chayiv. But Vim Lav Potter. My Lav the Alba Idna the Inshi. And he went into the city at a regular time. And therefore it's a Kashan Rabbah. The Gemara says, no, the Alba Idna below Inshi. He went in on his own time. So Iyachi my Potter. Why would there be any tour if he was negligent like that? Nobody would hold that Potter is Chayiv. So Rabbi says, the Shama Kol Aryev, he heard a lion roar and he ran into the city to protect himself. So it was not negligent. Iyachi, then what's the Indian of Oindino? So that you have to estimate. What is a person going to do against a lion? So he should have gathered other shepherds and sticks so they could chase the lion away. So Iachi, my area, Shomer Socher. Why would a Shomer Socher only be required to do that? Shomer Chinam Nami. The Amarhu de Omar Shomer Chinam Sha'aylo Beroim Uvamaklos V'Lokidim Chayiv. That if a Shomer Chinam had access to other shepherds and sticks, then he's considered negligent if he didn't do that. So Shomer Chinam, yes, he would be required to do it for free. It means he wouldn't be able to offer money to the royal. And if he couldn't gather people for free, b'chinam, it would not be considered negligent. Shomer Socher is bischar. Since the Shomer Socher is paid, he has to pay. How much does he have to pay? Ad kedei d'meyan. He has to pay to hire other guards up to the value of the animals. Shalom Aleichem, Rab Daniel, I'm teaching Daf Yomi now. I'm teaching right now. Let me call you right. Yeah. Let me call you right back. Ay. I don't understand. A Shomer Socher is Potter ba'oinsin. Here a lion is coming. Why is he chayiv? The Hadr Shakil, the man, Ibalabais. Yeah, when he pays, he can get recompense from the balabais. He doesn't have to do it out of his own pocket. Omer of Papa Labai, Iachi, my mine. So, what benefit is there for the owner of the animals? So he didn't, that which he didn't get lost by the lion eating the animal, he has to pay the shomer for where the shomer went to try to buy it. By help. Nafkamina l'kushra de chayusa. Even though monetarily there's no difference, if he has to go and buy other animals, right? These animals are used to his meadows now. He'd rather keep his old animals. Or inami l'tirchi seras, or the tircha to go buy other animals. So Rav Chisda of Rabbi Ravuna lo svir le dahadu Rabba. They don't hold like Rabba. The reason why I'm paying a shomer sachar is that you should watch me with an extra shmira, and that you shouldn't go into the city and take a nap. Barada was a schlepper and he would have the animals cross a very narrow bridge. One of the animals hit the other one, and it caused the animal to fall, and he drowned. Also, Rav Papa made him chayiv to pay. What am I supposed to do? It's an oinus. He should have walked it over the bridge, single file. Is that possible? Earlier people tried to make the same claim, and there was nobody who was found to be able to take animals single file. However, you're a mumche, you're an expert, that's why you were hired, and you have the responsibility to learn how to do it. Ivo deposited flax with a guy named Runya. A ganav came and stole it. The ganav was found. Also, Rav Nachman Chayve. And Rav Nachman made Runya of Chayv to pay. So, Lema Pligid Ravuna Baravin, is this in contradistinction to Ravuna Baravin, an animal shenigneva ba'oines? It was stolen. He was caught. If he wants, he could take a shvua that he didn't do anything wrong, and the bailim will deal with the ganav. He could adjudicate with the ganav and get it back from the ganav. He doesn't take a shvua, he does a din with the ganav. Runya was a shomer chinam. Why did he have to go to din? Amarava, Hasam Gavri defrus Gahavu Kaimi. What Runya was, there were government officers there. The Ramakolav Asumatsinle, if he would have raised his voice, they would have come and helped him. So it was his negligence that he didn't raise his voice. Mishnah. If one wolf, Ze'ev Echad, comes, Eino Onas, because the shepherd should have been able to chase it away. Shnei Ze'evim, 2 wolves, Onas. Then he would be able to overcome the shepherd, so the shepherd has a right to run away, and he would not be responsible. When there's an attack of wolves, even one wolf would be a problem. Shnei klovim eina onas, 2 dogs is not considered an oinus. Yadua bavli oimer shurav meir. If they came meruach achas, if the 2 dogs came from one direction, eina onas, and the shepherd should be able to chase them away. Mishtei ruchos oinus. If they came from 2 different directions, he can't handle that. Halistim, robbers, areza oinus. That's considered an oinus. Ari, a lion, a dove, a bear, a namer, the leopard, a bardilus. It's a machlokes what a bardilus is, like a hyena, the nochash, a snake. Are elu oinus. The shepherd doesn't have to hang around and fight them. Amisai is manchabal melein. That's if they just showed up. But if this is a place known for these animals, you got to stay away from there. And he brought them anyways. Then in an oinus, and he's responsible. Mesa kedark, if the animal died a natural death, I raise an oinus. Sikfa umesa, he caused the animal to work too much. He didn't take care of it. Then that's not an oinus. Also, if the animal on its own went up to a cliff and fell off, I raise an oinus. If he brought him up there, then it's not an oinus. There's another brisa that says one wolf is also considered an oinus. That's where there's an attack of wolves. Rabbi Yudi, at least there is an oinus. We said robbers are considered an oinus. Amai, loiki gavrladi, he should stand and fight. Amarav belistim mizuim. Enechanami. If the robbers are not armed, he should try to prevent them from stealing. But the Mishnah is talking about an armed robber, and you don't have any weapon. So Iboilu, we ask a theoretical question. Listim mizun, v'royim mizun. Let's say the shepherd has a weapon and the robbers have a weapon. Is he supposed to put his life on the line? Mi amina oiki gavra ladi gavra? Is he supposed to stand against them? Oidil mahai masr nafshe, v'hai lo masr nafshe. A robber is going to give his life to steal. Should he do it the same? Mistavrid ai masr nafshe, v'hai lo masr nafshe. It makes logical sense that the shepherd is not going to be moiser nefesh, and there's no responsibility on the roa to start fighting like this. Amar by the rova, ashkei roa. V'amar legan v'sarya. This will help. Let's stop. Let's stop here, and we'll pick up tomorrow night. Have a good week, everybody.
Okay. Thank you, Ernie.